Peter Purves, who travelled from Rep and Panto by way of Doctor Who and Blue Peter to Crufts and more Panto as director. Peter, what about you as a child? What was it that you...
No telly, because, they weren't around. My uncle had the first telly I ever saw. I saw a very strange coverage of the boat race in about 1949 on a 12-inch screen that had a huge magnifying glass in front of it, which distorted it even more, actually. But apart from that, my parents didn't get a telly until 1953. I think it was for the coronation or for Blackpool in the Cup.
But the Children's Hour was running till 1964. Did you listen to it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. No, I mean, my earliest memories are of, funnily enough, music hall, circus, variety, because I lived in Blackpool. That was fantastic. Yeah. And radio, Dick Barton. Absolutely tremendous, this wonderful
Journey
serial.
into Space?
No, I never got into Journey into Space. There was a programme that followed Dick Barton called Adventure Unlimited, which I remember coming down to London when I saw that boat race clip, actually. And my uncle had a friend at the BBC here, at Portland Place, and I was taken into the studio and I saw Adventure Unlimited being recorded. Thrilling. Wasn't as good as Dick Barton, but it was thrilling.
So let's turn finally to one we met earlier. Sorry, Peter Purves. Let's just clear this up quickly, Peter. Everyone always asks me, because there aren't that many Purveses spelt with an E. We're not related, really, are we?
But we know that our families came from pretty much the same area of border country Scotland.
Right.
That's about, isn't it? I think we probably are somewhere back along the line, but my family tree, which I traced back in about 1973, we didn't find you.
Oh. Well, I think I was the unrespectable side of the family.
Yes, you think you were the horse stealers.
Anyway, Peter's autobiography, obviously called Here's One I Made Earlier, reveals all sorts of odd things, which were not secrets, but I had completely forgotten. You did 44 episodes of Doctor Who.
Yes.
In the mid-60s, long before Blue Peter. You were...
That's right, yes. 1965 I started and left in the summer of 66 with the original Doctor, William Hartnell. But, that was... the show had been going for 80 episodes by then. I did 44.
And you interacted with Daleks, did you? I
did twice. We had two series where the Daleks were involved. The one where I first joined, it was an extraordinary story, really, because I went along for a small part in Doctor Who. And it was to play an insect, a giant insect. And there weren't any words. And I'd been out of work for a little while. I'd done a play for... ABC Television, who became Thames, and it was called The Girl in the Picture. Myself and Nicola Paget were the starring roles, new introducing roles they were. And it was a lovely play to do. Alvin Rakoff was the director. That hadn't been seen, and I had no money left. The money had gone from that, and I hadn't worked since I did it.
You went to be an insect?
And I went to be an insect. And the director, Richard Martin, refused to give me the part. He said, no, I'm not giving you one of these. It sounds like I'm boasting, but I'm not. He just said, you're better than this. I'm not going to give you one of these parts. There's nothing for you to do in it. But when I'm casting actors, when I need people, I will think of you. Well, Geraldine will know. You take that with a pinch of salt. This is just a fobbing off line.
But you ended
up... But it wasn't. He did cast me. And I played a hillbilly.
On the top of the Empire State Building with the Daleks.
With the Daleks, yeah. I'm the only person ever, I think, in Doctor Who to have taken the mickey out of the Daleks on screen.
Does life get any better?
It was outrageous ham acting. It wasn't ham, but it was over the top. It was a lovely comedy part for me. And I loved playing comedy. I don't get much opportunity, but I absolutely love it.
Anyway, as one of the stories I say in Here's One I Made Earlier, autobiography, I have to say, as with a lot of these memoirs, I kept getting a sense through it of you being terribly anxious to set certain records straight, contradict certain press stories, and possibly settle a few little scores. Is that how it began?
No, not really. No, it wasn't. Unlike Les, when I wrote it, it just flowed out. It was the easiest book to write in many ways, because there's a huge number of anecdotes in there and things that happened, and I just followed my memory and I let them write. And most people say I write like, when they read my book, they think they can hear me. I write as I speak, so it is actually quite an easy way to write for me, and it just poured out. I think there's an element of what you say is true.
There is always this element of a bit of.
But it wasn't a deliberate thing. It's just as that came up. All right, let's straighten that out and so on. So yes, it was there, but it wasn't the purpose of the book.
Because the trouble is, the Blue Peter years. Blue Peter just becomes so sort of legendary and fixed in people's minds and so on.
Yes,
and you were present when the elephant
did
the bad thing on the studio floor and so on. But tensions there. You and Biddy Baxter, the notorious.
We didn't really get on. But
it's because you say that you wanted to wear kipper ties and flares, and she wouldn't let you. Now that's my kind of woman.
No, no. Well, actually, she didn't stop me. What they did when I first joined the show, they dressed me the way they thought I should be, and it was literally how Christopher Trace had dressed before. And it was sort of fairly chunky Norwegian type jerseys and things. I didn't like that. And as soon as I got the opportunity to, I started changing that and started wearing nice shirts and ties when they came in, cravats even, big flares, boots.
And Biddy stopped you?
No, she didn't. Oh, no, it was allowed.
You did a bit of it, yes.
I did a lot of it. I mean, throughout the early 70s, a lot of people have actually gone on record saying, well, you're a bit of a fashion guru. I never was. I mean, but I used to follow the trends, yeah.
You also seem a bit annoyed that in Blue Peter the presenters were really not included in the editorial process and meetings.
Well, unlike your show,
you were more
where you're involved in the production, the development.
No, they'd never let me have a say.
Never. No, we weren't. We did. The show was written for us. We had to learn it. We delivered it. We were at the sharp end,
so
but we weren't.
Actors.
We never really felt part of the team. We were actors. There was no such thing as a television presenter. I mean, people who presented television programs were journalists or actors. And you went in and I took the job for 6 months on Blue Peter because it was a stopgap because I hadn't got any acting work. And the option was on the BBC's side, so they kept me. They had the option to keep me or fire me, and they kept me. I didn't have the option to not stay. So it didn't become 6 months, it became a year then. But by the time I'd done it for a year, I didn't want to leave it anyway. So I did 10 and a half years.
When you started off, were you acting? Were you playing a character in it? Sort of thing?
Yes, well, that was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting saying that you managed to invent a character when you were at school, that you could invent yourself so that you could escape from various things that were getting in the way of your life being pleasant. I actually had to learn not to act because as an actor you always hide behind the character. You've always got something to hide behind. And I'd done 2 years in weekly rep. So I did about 90 plays in 2 years, which was a horrendous amount of work. Some of it would have been dreadful.
So you had to learn this different broadcaster thing of being
not to be
roughly yourself.
You had to learn to be yourself. I did find it difficult. It wasn't easy.
I must come to this. There's your close relationship with a colleague, obviously, attracts a lot of attention. I obviously mean Petra the dog.
Of course.
I mean, Petra the dog, you say she was not a nice dog. She lived with you, you took her home, she became part of your life, but you didn't. It's not like John Noakes and Shep. She wasn't a very nice dog.
She wasn't a very nice dog. That doesn't mean that I didn't like her. I mean, she was my dog, and she was great. And but she was a top dog, and she didn't like other dogs at all. I mean, I used to take her on Wandsworth Common, and other dogs that knew her would run away. I mean, she had this sort of air about her. But she didn't like other dogs. She didn't like the studio much. The reason that I took her on was because the programme thought it would be a good idea if the dog had some sort of continuity. It didn't go away and then come to the studio. It went away with me. And so if I went filming, I took her. If, she had a permanency. And it did work to a large extent. I think it made her life much happier in the studio. No, I liked her a lot. She was a super dog for me, but she wasn't a great dog for most people.
Did she ever bite any of the other presenters? I've got 30 seconds left. I just need to know. Did she ever bite Leslie Judd?
No,
did you ever bite? Did you ever set her on Biddy Baxter?
She would have, but she lost. She had distemper as a puppy and lost all of her front teeth when they came. The second teeth came through. She lost them, so she couldn't nip. She gave me a nasty suck, but that was about as far as it went.
It's a depressing dog. Anyway, no, there's great homages to Petra in the book. I have to say, and many other tales.
Some very very nice pictures as well. Though.
Just in one word, if a return to full-on acting came right now, would you go straight back into it?
At a shot.
King Lear?
The frightening thing, I don't know if I could learn lines now. Who knows? I'm getting old.
That's it for this week, I'm afraid. Thanks to Peter Purves.